Welcome to FightLine, brought to you in conjunction with Buy My Fight and Westbound Logistics Services. My name's Ben Doughty, and I'm joined once again by the irrepressible, inimitable Spencer Fearon.
Call me by my real name, man. No, don't call me that no more. My name's Knowledge now. I'm just
Master
being real.
Knowledge.
Right,
Listen,
that's what I'm saying to you.
Master Knowledge, but not the infallible Master Knowledge, because last week I didn't tell you, I predicted Canelo Alvarez would stop Sergey Kovalev in the last third of the fight. As luck would have it, I'm right. I'm not going to come on like...
Was he winning the fight? Did you think he was winning the fight?
I did.
You thought,
yes,
what, hands down?
Not hands down. I watched it. Listen, I don't score fights very often with pen and paper when I'm watching them. I prefer, in my leisure time, just to watch the fight. But I watched it on the Monday, secondary view. And some people suggest that's not the ideal way to do it. The best way is organically as it's happening. I do understand that. But I scored it 6-4 in Canelo's favour. I thought Kovalev was astonishingly meek, polite, content to throw straight punch combinations. He looked like
he was just happy to be there. That's how it looked.
The Joe Bugner just glad to be there trophy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do, but I don't think it was that bad, right? But he did look like he was just happy to be there.
At a squeeze, I could have got 5 and 5.
No, you know what? I could see. Yeah, but you know what? If it was any other fighter in the ring at the time, and not Kovalev, the Crusher, right?
Yeah.
Then I could have seen a way for him to be winning on points. But subjectively looking at it, I'm saying, well, but you are the physically more bigger man, even though there was a weight clause in it of £10, right?
Rehydration clause.
The rehydration clause, which I told everybody if you watch The Fight Is Right, I told Virgil Hunter and Tunde Ajayi, I said, listen, there's got to be no doubt a rehydration. No, there isn't one.
Do you think it's fair enough, or do you think it's
essentially
out of order?
No, I don't think it's out of order. Check this one out. What weight are you fighting at? You're fighting at
175 pounds
light heavyweight. So what's the problem if they say, okay, then well, you on the day of, and the thing which is a crazy thing, back in the day, and we're only going, but when we say back in the day, 1991, it was when it changed. It was you had to weigh in on the day, so they weren't really looking at a rehydration clause then.
And what's interesting, Spencer, is I've seen some of the diehards. People need to be consistent, and they need to keep an eye on their reasoning. I've seen some of the diehards say this is ridiculous. Fighters blowing up and coming in 12 times the size of God the next day, rehydrating up to 15 and 20 pounds. They should go back to same day weigh-ins. Then they'll go, look at him, ginger Mexican drug treating cheat.
Yeah, right. You can't win.
He's got the hydration clause. It's like, what side of the fence are you on?
You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't.
Right. My belief was that. Why should a fighter weigh much more than £10 the next day anyway? But Ian Bailey, former Southern Area super bantamweight champion, posted something interesting the other day on Facebook when he said no, in this culture of 36-hour previous weigh-ins, the day before weigh-ins, you tend, even he said as a featherweight I would hydrate up to 15 or 20 pounds. He said at light heavyweight it would kill you these days to only be able to put on 10 pounds. It would limit the amount of carbohydrate and water intake you could allow yourself the next day. And he said that is wrong, and that's going to weaken a man. I'm not sure what to believe, because I've never...
Bruv, listen to this one, yeah? It is what it is. You're waiting at the weight that you're meant to come in at, right? Mm-hmm. To me, the rehydration of what I don't care. You're at that weight.
Yeah.
Seriously, historically, if you go back like to Ted Kid Lewis, right? Yeah. We go through what weights were they doing when they started off? What weight on the day they weighed on the day? By the time it was fight time, what were they?
Sugar Ray Leonard told me he only put on 6 or 7 pounds between on a morning or lunchtime weigh-in fight that evening.
But it was Sugar Ray Leonard that was the master of the rehydration clause, right? Because it's today 31 years ago
since
today.
He fought Donnie Lalonde.
Since he fought, you're good mate. So, and he mastered it. Because even when he fought Tommy Hearns in 89, in June, it was June 89, there was a rehydration clause for Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns weighed in. Yeah, there's a rehydration clause on Tommy Hearns as well. So this is how it is. You know what I mean? I'm not really arguing. Imagine it was a super middleweight title fight, but Tommy Hearns had to weigh in at 11:11.
Yeah.
Right. So and he should have been a 12 stoner. So right. And those things don't bother me, mate.
In any case. Alvarez did get the job done. You had people, the conspiracy theorists, making a big deal of the fact that Kovalev looked rather apologetic, throwing straight arm punches at the gloves, astonishingly unphysical, really, and not seemingly inclined to use his size advantage. Some people have run with that and say it was all orchestrated, it was a fix.
Listen, you know who started it? You know who started that fish talk?
On this
LL Cool J, the great rapper. LL Cool J was the one that started. He tweeted, "Oh, it looked like a fix to me," right? it wasn't a fix. He just
maybe his mama said that.
Yeah, but she didn't say knock him out, right? So like I said, boxing is very, very subjective. You're gonna get people that know, and regardless of anything else, you are looking at something very, very special when you're looking at Canelo, right? Forget about rehydration clause. Forget about the ban that he served for eating contaminated meat. Yeah. Forget about all of it because it's a 6-month ban. Forget about all of those.
That's
It's
Mexico
twice.
thing, right?
Right, so it's a Mexican thing. It's recent. It's recent now,
I wouldn't want to fight a Mexican cow, I tell you, because they must be hench as hell.
I'm telling you, I've seen one. Dave Cool, trainer, he posted of a Mexican cow. It was proper. It looked like 2 Frank Brunos with horns. So anyway, but you know, the game is a game, man.
Yeah, certainly Alvarez is a vastly improved fighter than the relatively green guy that was, you know, pinged up by Floyd Mayweather back in 2013.
Bernard Hopkins put it best. Bernard Hopkins, the former 2-8 world champion, said what happened with Canelo is when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he got a degree in boxing, and that was it. And then he's taken the blueprint on how to do most things from Floyd Mayweather.
And you can see some Mayweather styling. You can
see it. But also what I do like he does little shuffles with his feet, like to break alignment. He'll do a little shuffle. He'll go one way, then the next way. Then he'll realign himself so he's in punching range to throw his shots. The guy's a really, really good fighter. And on that win, arguably pound for pound #1 fighter in the world.
Certainly, he's not the favourite son of the diehards who tend to favour your Bud Crawfords, Vasyl Lomachenko, or even...
They're not the diehards. They're not the diehards. That's not true. They're not the diehards. The diehards do not respect the class of someone like Terence Bud Crawford. The diehards don't. The diehards will look on something like Lomachenko now, or they believe that they're diehards, and they'll get overly gassed when they're looking on somebody like Lomachenko because it's something that they've never seen before, because they're not really that diehard. Because Lomachenko hasn't shown me nothing I haven't seen before.
In the history of this sweet annals.
Come on, let's be real. Has he shown you? Has he wowed you more than a young Pernell Whitaker when he fought Jose Luis Ramirez? Has he?
No, but he
in 1989. No, he does great things, and I'm not saying that he's not going to go down in history as an all-time great for him to have accomplished what he's done in the minuscule time that he's been as a professional fighter. No, I'm not going to argue with that. But am I going to turn around and say like, oh my God, this guy, it's really weird. When everyone starts to gas up people, especially people who don't really know boxing, I actually cut to go for the
other way.
Yeah, I do.
I've always been naturally rebellious like that. If I see people on the tube all reading Dan Brown, I don't want to ever read it ever.
No,
you know.
Right, exactly.
But in any case, Spence, before we take a look ahead to this weekend's action, including a fight that is taking place in Tokyo as we speak, Nicola Adams announced her retirement yesterday, and it came as somewhat of a surprise and caused quite a ripple across the news channels. But I think at 37, a professional career had never really caught fire. She cited eye problems and a warning she'd had from the people that would know that she risks permanent damage and perhaps loss of vision if she carried on. And I think it's fair to say, regardless of what she achieved in a brief 6-fight pro career, as an amateur with 2 Olympic titles, world, European,
one
and
of the
Commonwealth
greatest
golds.
female boxers of all times, right? I mean, Clarissa Shields could argue as well because she was a 2-time gold medalist as well, right? Yeah. But she one of the greatest, and not only that, not only can we say like on her greatest. You ever met her? Have you ever met her?
What I haven't. I did see her win in London.
Quite a few times. I met her quite a few times. I even watched the Creed. We sat together for the Creed premiere where Tony Bellew was in. When Tony Bellew was Pretty Ricky,
yeah.
Right, and she is an absolutely fantastic human being. She's such a nice person, right? She's so cool, and what you see on screen of her is the actual person that you'll get out and about. So we've dialogued quite a few times. I think I've interviewed her quite a few times as well, and she is a absolute darling and a superb. What she has accomplished, or how she's gone about on her accomplishments, even like willing to say, all right, I'm going to go to America, I'm going to do what I'm going to do with Virgil Hunter, capturing the WBO flyweight title, really short succession. But the thing about it is this: when she turned professional as a female with all of her accomplishments, she was the number one in the weight division anyway. So you know what I mean?
She never had to throw a punch for pay in her life.
No,
you know,
she
to improve on her
didn't.
legacy like that.
She set as well. She made smart investments, and there's going to be so much more things for her to do. I guarantee you're going to see her as a pundit, maybe for BT because they were showing her fights as well, because she's that, and she understands boxing, and she understands finite boxing, the little bits that lots of people miss. Yeah. She's that person. So you know what I mean? I wish her all the best in her retirement. I do. I absolutely love her. She's a lovely human being.
I will second that. Moving on. This is a bit of a unique situation for the show thus far, in that we're going to preview a fight which by the time the viewers see this, it will have already happened. So this kind of serves as an exercise in seeing which one of us gets it right on this occasion. Because in Tokyo, right about now, the phenomenal Inoue comes up against old stager Nonito Donaire in the final of the World Boxing Super Series bantamweight competition. It's something, Spence, that Donaire, still a very good fighter. I watched his last fight versus Stefan Young again last night just to refresh my memory. And he still is very useful. And he's also gained what you might have lost in athleticism and that kind of physical edge that you have when you're in your prime of your life, when you're maybe 26, 27. He has compensated it the way many a fighter has.
Become a wily old fox.
He's so much wiser. Like you say, a wily old fox. He knows the old man tricks. He's still a force to be reckoned with. He's ridden his luck in this tournament in various ways. But it's very hard to pick against the Japanese fighter
who's a top 5 pound for
pound
fighter right now, and let's call it as it is, a multiple weight world champion. So is Nonito Donaire, but let's call it as it is, right? This guy Inoue, he's like something out of a computer game.
He really
right?
is. He looks like an avatar.
Something that is.
He reminds me, because he can box and move. He's frighteningly quick. On the counter, you know, he punches with both hands.
Yep.
He's a brilliant combination puncher. He can fight in the pocket up close. He can get on his bike. He can wait for you. I see bits of Donald Curry and that Kovalev striking.
There is very much. There is a lot.
And also the ability to fight inside, which the Kovalev could do as well.
Listen, but not only that, but even though there's bits of like Donald Curry, especially when he comes around when he throws his hooks, it's very much like Donald Curry. When Donald Curry was up close and he throws his hooks, he'd turn all of his body around with it. Yeah. I can't see Donaire winning, even though he's a great champion and he's been a fantastic ambassador for world boxing. He's an absolutely lovely guy. I know a couple guys who like walked past his house and knocked his door.
Yeah.
And he just come out, inviting him in his house and stuff. He's that kind of guy.
I interviewed him one time because I got a hookup in Vegas by the name of Marianne Owen, who got me his number and said, you can give him a call. He's in his hotel. Call him at what will be 10 o'clock Vegas time. And I called up and just said, hello, Nonito, this is Ben Doughty from Boxing Social at the time. And he's like, oh, awesome. Oh, and he just sounded really pleased to hear
Lovely
from me.
Guy.
You know,
that's a good impersonation of him, actually.
You know, I can impersonate anybody as long as I heard them say it first. I can't put words in their mouth. They have to say it and I will regurgitate it. And somebody once said a while ago, and they used Muhammad Ali almost as the ultimate template for this, the person who thinks he's a star, or even is a star to a certain degree, can be arrogant and aloof from the public, but the true superstar makes them feel like they're the truly important person in that equation.
Trust me.
Even you do that when people mob you at shows.
Listen, man. Listen, I've just learnt, man, like, it's when anyone recognises it, if you're recognised by someone, that's really and truly, you got to think about it, that kind of makes your day.
It's a privilege.
You should make theirs.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, listen.
4 rounds. All right. All said and done.
We'll look at
for this fighting guy more than 4 rounds.
It might be over as we
speak.
Yeah,
it could be.
I make you right as well, Spencer. You know, it's not. He does get hits. He's not got an impregnable defence like most fighters haven't. In UAE.
He doesn't.
So it's not beyond the realms of possibility, and it's not without precedent when we look at former situations over the decades that Inoue could catch him with a Hail Mary left hook.
Bruv.
And it would be a sensational upset. Yeah. And when you look at the prices, you'll see what that means in mathematical terms. Yeah. But it's not one that I'm banking on.
The fight should be over, right? What's time now?
Let's have a look at...
No. We've got about 15 more minutes before they're making ring walks and all the rest of it.
Okay, this is cool.
So I'm just going 4 rounds, and I'm going to watch it after we go over the cafe across the road. But I've got 4 rounds for Inoue. I can't see Nonito Donaire withstanding that kind of punching power, and especially when I've seen Nonito Donaire get knocked out, and now you're down at a lower weight.
He's come down at the age of 36. That's got to have some kind of impact.
Yeah, of course it does.
Shall we have a look at the prices?
Go on.
Let's get those up. Okay, as you can see, Spence, there is very short odds on the straight win for Inoue, who is 1 to 10. He is 1 to 6 to win by KO, so that's not a lot better for anyone who's merely predicting that he will have an early shower victorious. 8 to 1 to win by decision. That is a massively good bet for anyone who honestly believes that Donaire can be there at the final bell while still losing the fight.
But look, I'm seeing Nicola Donaire like 25 to 1 for decision, yeah?
25 to 1 for
Bruv, you might as well throw £2 on it.
Because you never know.
You never know.
He is the most experienced and arguably the best fighter that Inoue has met in his less than 25 pro career thus far. Yeah. Let's break down those options for the KO and let's explore the angles there. As you can see, you're looking at this. You're still not getting an upside on that. You've got 1 to 2. This is spending money to make money. If you win £500, it doesn't matter whether you put 1,000 down or whether you put 10 pence down. You're still winning. That's what gamblers should realise. People who do this for a living. You could. And
where did you get those from? Sky Bet, did you?
Yes, I got those from Sky Bet. I'm using William Hill's odds on the middle fight this week to mix it up a bit. Sky Bet are the ones on my phone app, and it's just a lot easier.
All right.
I don't
you want anything from them?
We've got Westbound Logistics, our sponsors there, by the way. What do I want anything from Sky Bet?
No, did you win anything from Sky Bet?
Listen, I should have put money on last week. I got 7 to 1 on Alvarez.
And you never done it,
do you want me to tell you something, right? I bet the first week when I got it wrong, my accumulator on this show, I put a tenner on it, and it didn't come in because I got the Ritson Davies wrong. I got the right winner but the wrong scenario.
All right.
So then I got a little bit gun shy. The next week I picked 3 on the spin all right and I didn't bet on it. And last week I tipped myself a 7 to 1. I made other people money. People are contacting me on Facebook thanking me for the tips, and I'm not on these. They're saying, how much did you win? You saw it on the comments. I didn't win anything. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to back every single pick I make from here on in on the show.
7 to 2 for Inoue, like 7 to 12, yeah?
Yes. So if you honestly think that Donaire can get through the first half of the fight, that's a great bet. Now you're starting to look at making some money. Would you be tempted, Spencer, or are you going to 1 to 6?
No. You know what?
We'll look at
the fight's not going past 6 rounds, bro.
Okay, so
seriously,
let's get the other round group. Let's get the other round group betting image up. This is where we get to the chase, Spencer. See, this is the problem. 4 to 6 is 9 to 4. You said he's going to do in 4. Would you go, which way are you going to go? You're going to go 7 to 4. I'm going 4 to 6. I'll tell you now. That is my tip.
And that, you know what? I didn't want to agree with you. I didn't want to agree with you, but that's if I'm saying, I would say like 4 to 6. But you know what?
9 to 4, good price.
It is a good price. Yeah, I'm going 9 to 4 and Inoue. So yeah,
I would like to say you heard it here first, but you didn't, because by the time you're watching this about 5 p.m. tonight, the fight will have already happened. Could say it's a rather spurious preview in that sense, and I understand that.
Now look at my watch. This is the time. The time on my watch. You can see that. This is the time, right? Cool.
That was a really, transparent and cheap attempt, if you'll forgive the rather inappropriate pun, to flaunt your ludicrously expensive wristwear, and I don't appreciate it. I'm not in that kind of income tax bracket.
Shut up, Ben.
You got to give me time, yeah? Okay. Listen, see, I'm being a little bit more. You said last week you thought I was too polished and too.
Yeah, I'm saying,
and you said those days are done, man. Fam, are you dumb?
Yeah, I said, you dumb? No, come on, man.
So I'm trying to be a little bit more.
I'm 45 now. I can't even speak like that no more. But I'm saying, like, let's be real. You see, like last week, come on the show, you
don't try to come across as Harry goddamn Carpenter.
I said, why? Those days are done now.
Okay.
That is it.
We could do this in
KSI and Logan Paul are fighting a professional fight.
Listen,
those days are finished. I just want you to know that. Those days are finished.
No problem.
All right?
So since you mentioned their names, I want to look at the second fight up for our fearless prognostication this week. Now,
is that going to be Billy Joe or is it going to be Devin Haney?
I'm going with Devin Haney first of all versus Alfredo Santiago.
Santiago.
I like that image as well. I make these on my phone, Doesn't it look good?
That's quite impressive, man. That is
no spelling mistakes this week, which is always a bonus.
Right, okay. I'm dyslexic, so I would never know.
Devin Haney recently spuriously elevated to the status of WBC lightweight champion off the back of what was supposed to be a final eliminator against Abdullayev. I watched that again recently. He did a clinical job, Haney, and busted him up.
He did.
The guy didn't come out for the 5th round.
Also, we're talking about Devin Haney. Let's look at this there. The kid is only 20 years old.
And he is a major talent. There are shades of Meldrick Taylor. We always see comparisons.
There is.
And he does he has some of that Floyd Mayweather
But then
defense
also there's a lot of Harold Davis in him. If you look at him, there is a lot.
He doesn't seem to choose to move as much as Davis. He seems to stand his ground a little bit more. He's got a fantastic jab, brilliant variety. He looks like he punches.
The kid has got good people around him. He's got Mike McCallum around him, Zab Judah around him. He's got his dad Bill.
Does McCallum train him?
He works with him, but he's not. Consultant. Consultant. Yeah, call it that. But so you've got a wealth of experience around you, and not only that, his dad. Because Tundi knows his dad really well. Tundi Ajayi, trainer of Anthony Yard, knows his dad really well. Yeah. Because they came over. They came over to London about 6 years ago.
People were raving about this kid after a sparring session that was said to have happened with Floyd Mayweather. Right. And that was when I first heard about Devin Haney. Right. Remember this name, kind of.
He's a very, very good kid. And he's signed with Matchroom, DAZN. Yeah. He said that everything he asked for, he got. So, and his dad's a very shrewd business person, right? Because his dad's very, very wealthy. Yeah. So for them to go, they're going to make the right moves. The kids are a very, very good talent. I've seen Santiago fight once.
John Victor Barros, who we saw him against Lee Selby at the Wembley SS Arena back in 2017.
I've seen him fight once. Do I think he's going to admit a problem to Haney? Not really.
He's tall.
I think he is tall.
He's 5'10".
He is tall. But I think there is something very, very special about this young man in Devin Haney, and I think he's going to come through successful. And I don't know if you're going to get the odds up on the screen now.
We'll get the odds up on the screen, sure. I think the talking point here is whether the fight will go the distance or not. I mean, you know what? On Sky Bet, the reason I'm using William Hill's odds on this fight, and I'll explain why. On Sky Bet, they weren't giving any sub scenarios in terms of distance or KO. Right. Literally, all they were offering you was something. It was 1 to 100. On Haney, which is just prohibitive, odds. It just means you don't back Haney. We're not taking that bet. And the outsider was something like it probably was only about 12 to 1. Some people who don't understand odds intricately might wonder why it can be 1 to 100 on one side and 12 to 1 on another side. There is a logic. I won't bore people with explaining it this week. But you've got 1 to 50, which is half the size of the
1 to 100
with Sky Bet, the draw is 33 to 1, and if you fancy Alvarez to spring the upset, I know him as Alfredo Santiago. They are calling him Alfredo. These Latins have got so many names, haven't they? Let's call him Santiago because that's what he's on BoxRec. If you fancy Santiago to pull off, if not the unthinkable and certainly the upset, you can get 12 to 1. Now here we go. Haney by KO or TKO is 1 to 6, so it's still not a great bet.
None of here is a very good bet.
7 to 2 on points. If you think the guy can mess him around with his height and stay out of harm's way, that's a good bet. 7 to 2.
But I'll have to go and study more of his fights. I only see, like I said, I've only seen one fight of his.
I can't tell a lie, me too.
Right, and I'm saying, Devin Haney's really good. And but I spoke to Michelle Joy Phelps yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, and she was like, she just interviewed Devin Haney. So she was like, the thing with this Santiago guy, no one don't know him. Right? Yeah. Right, we know what Devin Haney's going to bring.
He doesn't look bad, Santiago. I'll say that much. He looks well schooled.
He's schooled.
And he is a tall, damn lightweight, which could this look like a poor man's Mayweather Corrales kind of scenario?
It could be.
Saturday night
It could be. But I still see Devin Haney victorious, and I see Devin Haney. Late round stoppage.
You think a late round stoppage?
I'm going late round stoppage.
I couldn't find any odds for the specific round group bets.
I know, that's why I called it.
This is, you know what? So the best you can do on that is the 1 to 6. This is where accumulators come in. I'll explain this as we wrap the show. You can still do well out of a call like this if you tie it in with a treble or any number of fights all reliant on each other. A quick word about our sponsors, Spencer. Wonderful sponsors, Buy My Fight, the online source and marketplace for fighters to be able to sell their tickets, which is obviously a crucial part of any careerist, ambitious professional boxer today. Your friend and mine, Philip Bowes, has recently jumped on board with BMF. He is fighting on the 29th.
They ain't no easy fight for him.
Philip Bowes he defends his Commonwealth Light Welterweight Championship, and he gets a chance to win the vacant British title versus Akeem Ennis-Brown, alternatively known as Riddy Rival, like you say. And we're not doing a preview because we can do a preview on the day.
Later on,
But it's good to say, I think this shows a good example of fighter who is at the championship level and to an extent has made it, but he still needs to sell tickets. And this is where this is a priceless online resource.
Yeah, it is. It's a priceless online resort. My heart's got out to all of them. And fair play to Mickey Elliott. He put the purse bid in. For the fight. It was ridiculously cheap for a British title fight, and I hope that both men give a good account of themselves, and I hope that Buy My Fight helps. I know they will help because I've seen the work they've done before, that they can sell and bring, like, it's your call the fight's going to be, so we can have a really good crowd out, a really good turnout.
You're going to be there on the night?
100%. I'm going to be coming out to support because. You know what I mean? The other kids with MTK Global. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. But you don't have divided loyalties.
I do, actually.
Okay,
I'm just being real.
Right.
I actually do. MTK Global, my family.
I'll
I'm
be
just being real.
with Johnny.
Big up the Kingmaker. So I'm just being real.
I'll be sitting with Johnny Melfer, you know, because Riddy Rival is about the biggest deal I've had in Gloucester since Johnny Melfer. So John Melfer, you know, the former ABA finalist who also boxed Steve Collins, Chris Eubank, and Harold Graham as a pro. He'll be up there. He said, you know, he often offers to buy me a ticket because he sits ringside and brings some friends.
He's such a nice guy.
And he knows I'm rooting for my mate Philip Bowes, but obviously he fancies his man and thinks he's going to bring those.
Have you seen that kid fight? Have you seen him fight?
Yeah, I see him fight.
Bro, he's a nightmare.
Darragh Foley.
Yeah, he's a nightmare to fight, that kid, because he's very, very fit, throws a lot of shots. That's going to be a great fight. But so I'm saying, if you guys haven't bought your ticket already, what date is it?
It's the 29th.
It's the 29th of November at the York Hall, Bethnal Green. You know what I mean? Come out and support.
And go to Buy My Fight. Google Buy My Fight online, /Philip Bowes, whatever it might be, and get on board. Going on then to the final fights that we're looking at this week. My good friend Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard of a hyped up white collar affair. It was something I wanted. I didn't even want to mention the names of the principals in the main event, but you were telling me you had a different take on it.
No, of course I got a different take. When we sit down, you're going to be gunning this KSI Logan Paul fight. What? Right, I'm just being real. Why would you want to gun it? Why?
For me, I just think it's a shame that we've got. Harry Mullen said a long time ago, actually now, there was a documentary.
That this was going to happen.
He did, yeah. But there was a documentary on in 1999 on mainstream TV at the time when we didn't have this social media access to TV about Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, and it was called The Clash of the Titans. It's a fantastic documentary. I know you will have seen it.
It's excellent.
And he said about the way in which Ben was box office and Eubank was box office, and their rivalry was massive box office. But Watson, although he was on a par with them ability-wise, he wasn't box office. He wasn't as commercial. He wasn't a hot property. And Harry said we seem to live in an era, and he meant then. You know, we're talking 20 years ago, when the packaging seems to be more important than what's in the package. Now, in the 20 years since those words passed his lips, and you know, God rest his soul, that absurdity has risen to a new level.
No, it hasn't even risen to a new level. That absurdity has now exploded because we're living in a world right now where we are actually microwaves. That is it, because we are here and now. We don't want things to sit down and marinate. We want it here. It's now, right now. If I can't get it now, no. And this is the world that we live in. So, you know what I mean? You got to change, right? Then, bottom line, you got to change. Was it Howard Wilson said, "He who rejects change is the architect of decay. The only human institution that rejects progress is the cemetery." We got to get with the times. Now, sometimes
What times?
No, you got to get with the times, bro. This is how it goes. Is this? You're doing a show right now and it's going on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay then. So, wouldn't you like to have the KSI fan base to pull in the numbers and everything else?
No, because they're not going to keep watching me after that finishes.
No. What do you want?
It's like this argument. It's going to create new fans. It's not going to create new fans.
Let me tell you this now. You're saying that it's not going to create new fans, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like me being a Kylie Minogue fan, going to listen to...
and putting Led Zeppelin on the undercard, or the Velvet Underground, or
right.
even though the timelines might not agree.
This is what I'm trying to say to you.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it isn't, because I totally disagree. Because it's like this, if I've got 2 glasses of water and one's really contaminated and it's dirty, you're drinking it, you think it's great, but I give you the pure stuff, the the finite of water to drink, you are gonna know the difference. No matter how thirsty you are gonna know the difference. So if you got the choice, you know what I mean? So these guys are going out and they have made a choice to say they're going to go this. Yes, it is pantomime. Should it be professional boxing? No, it shouldn't be.
Absolutely not.
No, it shouldn't be.
Listen,
right.
I would like to think Eddie Hearn,
I'm glad that it's got the eyeballs that it's got. I'm glad that it's making the eyeballs.
You think Billy Joe's going to get a new fan base off of this?
If Billy Joe's going to do what he's going to go do, yes, I believe that.
And
Billy
Devin
Joe
Haney too.
And Devin Haney too. I think they can all get new fan base off of the back of it. Especially me personally, what I would have done is this: I would have had really young guys, because you got to think who's going to be watching KSI and Logan Paul. It's going to be these little teeny boppers. I would have had Garcia.
People who would watch them in a shirt. If that was what they were doing.
I would have had Garcia. I would have had young, good-looking kid fighters on there. So like they're going to be appealing to a new
Oscar
genre.
De La Hoya were doing good at the time.
It would have been excellent. I mean, Michelle Joy Felt spoke about that. She used to watch Oscar De La Hoya because she fancied him. Yeah. So if you had someone like that, and there was that kid who was he boxed last week, Garcia. Yeah. If you had
first round KO,
first round KO
too.
Right,
he's got loads of training videos on Instagram as well, where he looks blinded on the speedball with a skipping rope and all that.
He's impressive.
That's why his fighters can market themselves these days outside of the ropes.
Exactly. So I'm not complaining to any of those kind of things, and credit to Eddie Hearn for thinking, all right, there's a move here, and gone and done it too.
If I was Eddie Hearn, it's a bit like you said to me, we've got to talk about this because it brings eyeballs to the show and eyeballs to the sport.
No, I bring eyeballs to the show. Let's just be real.
Listen, my views went through the roof having you on. That's why you're on this week. Aside from the fact that I just absolutely adore your company every passing day. Whenever it presents itself.
People don't know how close we are.
They don't know that. But
don't make me cry now. Come on.
Before we cut to the real, credible boxing on the card, I'll just say, if I was Eddie Hearn, I would like to think I've got enough money, enough leverage, and my life is sufficiently okay that I don't have to do this. Yes, it's costing me money. Some people say, well, no, he's got to do what DAZN tells him. But I'm not knocking Eddie Hearn. I do like Eddie Hearn.
To what I'm
but
saying
I would like to think I would say no.
You know what man's nature is this? If you give man a mountain of gold, he'll still want a second one. And that is
Mike Jacobs said, if I made 100 grand in the morning, I'd be out this afternoon hustling for a quarter.
All right then. And
he was the original.
Right.
It wasn't the original, but he was one of the original promotional czars.
Of course he was. So that's it. There's not more to say. Let's see the odds, man.
Well, hang on a second. Before we do, very little is known about this Marcelo Esteban Coceres, who Billy Joe
defends. Is it Coceres or Coceres? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I watched the Latin telecast last night and they were saying Coceres.
All right, Coceres. Okay, cool.
We need an interpreter on this damn show.
We do. I got loads, man. Seriously.
Okay. Listen, Billy Joe will be defending his recently won WBO super middleweight title that he won against the rather obscure German Isufi at Stevenage Football Ground back in the summer. Very little is known about this guy. He has an almost identical record to Billy Joe. They both have 28 wins. The only blemish on the Argentinian's record is a draw in his second fight over 4 rounds, which we can dismiss as rather spurious. Yeah. I watched him last night. I watched his last fight that he had a little while ago. He looks a well-schooled boxer. He doesn't look like he's any kind of puncher. He's an orthodox fighter. He is an orthodox. I don't mean he's unorthodox. I mean he boxes out of the orthodox stance. I know you understand that. Just for any of our more casual viewers who may have tuned into us via the KSI link, of course. Now listen, he looks a decent boxer. He doesn't look special in any particular way. Billy Joe we know about. Billy Joe can be a phenomenal boxer on his day, on his night. He hasn't really beaten anybody of true marquee value, you could argue, as yet. He has the Andy Lee victories. The one-trick pony, although always dangerous, David Lemieux, Chris Eubank Jr. several years ago. People who knock Billy Joe say he still hasn't really beaten anybody and does more talking than fighting. Obviously, I'm not going to go along with that for obvious reasons. I think I can't see Billy Joe. You can always lose. That's Lloyd Honeyghan, Jorge Varka type scenario. But if we look at the prices, I think most of the intrigue around this picking will centre around whether Billy Joe can finish the fight inside the distance or not. Once again, you can see he is 1 to 100 to retain his title with Sky Bets. To win by KO, which is obviously what they fancy, is 4 to 11. If it does go the distance, and Billy Joe goes the distance quite a lot, he often elects to box smartly and sensibly.
It depends what Billy Joe turns up.
2 to 1 is a nice price. The draw is 25 to 1. The other guy, Coceres, you can get 20 to 1 for a straight win. To be honest, I wouldn't get involved in the scenarios. If you fancied him to spring the upset, I would just lump on the 20 to 1. He's 20 to 1 to win inside the distance. He's 40 to 1 to win by decision. See, when somebody does that, that's what makes you think If he's going to beat Billy Joe, I'd say he's more likely to beat him on points because Billy Joe's got a great chin, has never taken a count in his life. This guy doesn't resemble a puncher and only has 15 KOs, respectable amount of KOs in 28 fights. But part of them are saying, because even if he did somehow win, which some people think Artur Akhvov beat him, it's going to be a hooky decision anyway. Doesn't that say that to you when you look at the boxing logic?
So the only way that this guy could win is to go and stop Billy Joe Saunders. So the 20-1 bet for can you pronounce Coceres would have to be by stoppage. So that's the only way he's going to win. He's not going to beat Billy Joe on points because Billy Joe's a fantastic boxer.
Here's where I'm going to differ, right? If you ask me what I think will happen, my prediction in the fight, I'm probably going to tell you I think Billy Joe will be motivated, on song, looking to wow an American audience. He wants the truly career-defining fights now, at this stage in the prime of his life. Now he's with Matchroom and DAZN. He wants Canelo, he wants Golovkin. I do believe he wants those fights. I don't think he just got
100%. You mean?
And my prediction would be for Billy Joe to stop him probably somewhere in the second half. We don't have those. I don't believe we have those micro odds. If production guys, if there is another page, I can't remember what I sent you, then put it up. If there isn't, don't worry, leave it.
There is.
Okay. I would be looking at Billy Joe to win. If I was going to lump on the stoppage, I'd probably go around 7-9, which is 3-1.
Do you know what? You know what I was going to say when it flipped there.
That's not bad.
That's the bet right now. You know, I mean, the 3-1 bet, 7-9. It is
mid-round stoppage.
Because Billy Joe's not a concussive puncher.
He's not.
Right? And he'll fiddle and dance and do his stuff, and then if he
always sit on his shots.
Exactly, I know. And it's like, all right, it's time to close the show. And I think 8 to 9 rounds, Billy Joe will cause a stoppage, and that's it.
So we're going the same on that.
Yeah.
Spencer and I are both saying Billy Joe in rounds 7, 8 or 9 at 3-1 with Sky Bets. Here's the clever bit, right, Spence? My accumulator this week. You can do one if you wish, or if not, sit this part out. My accumulator, I'm going to go against what I've said with the Billy Joe thing, because I think I've decided I'm allowed to do that. I'm going Inoue KO simply inside the distance at any point within 12 rounds.
All right. That's not. You ain't going to win no money on that.
I am saying. Wait,
on accumulator, go on.
An accumulator is different. You calculate the odds and you see what you got. I'm going Haney by KO over Santiago at any point. And for my accumulator, I'm hedging my bets. I'd have a single on Billy Joe, round 7, 8 and 9 at 3-1.
Yeah.
For my accumulator, I'm saying Billy Joe on points, which is hardly beyond the bounds of possibility since Billy Joe hasn't stopped a lot of upper echelon guys in quite a while.
Yeah. But this guy's not an upper echelon guy.
No, he isn't, but
that's what I'm saying to you.
He looks well schooled and knows his way around the ring. That comes in, if you type that into Sky Bet on your bet slip, that comes out at 3-1. So for my accumulator, I'm offering Inoue by KO, Haney by KO, Billy Joe Saunders on points. It makes you 3-1 with Sky Bet if you do it now. Don't say I never give you anything. If you were going to do an accumulator, what would you do?
I'd do
just what you said. String 3 bets together.
Exactly what I'm exactly.
Fearon is saying
Inoue knockout,
Haney
knockout, and Billy Joe knockout, but not knockout.
Or you probably go specifically the 7, 8, 9 rounds.
7, 8, 9
rounds. Okay, so you heard it here first. By this point, I imagine you've already seen what has transpired with Donaire and Inoue. We're going to go get something to eat and catch up with those essential details right now. It was wonderful having you. It was wonderful having you.
Oh, man, it's cool, man.
In the meantime, be lucky and keep punching.